We got the light on. Well, Trina, another interesting day at council. Number of issues, not major significant issues that impacted on the long-term future, but some of the important things were the local government conference, which is being held
in October.
Yeah. And some of the issues that we're going to we've brought to the attention of the assembled group is the transgrid situation and the long-term compensation for the infrastructure that's going to be built on farmland throughout Snowy Valleys Council, and obviously other local government areas that transgrids will impact on.
But we've also, in relation to that, it's not just only about the landowners, we're looking for the compensation for the communities as well. And that's something that's really, really important. We also want Transgrid to show some responsibility towards the levy for emergency services in the areas of which they're going through. It's a significant project, and I believe that they need to accept responsibility for the impact that they are having on those of us who live in the rural and regional areas that they're going through.
Not only that, their facilities are going to impact on the ability to particularly fight fires and undergo normal farming activities. So they've got to be mindful of the impact that they're going to cause, and we will be pursuing the idea of just compensation, not only at the local government conference, but in our interactions with them on a local level.
That's right, and even one of the other motions that we're putting forward to local government New South Wales is in relation to the protection of food producing lands. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that sometimes if you're producing food, then it doesn't necessarily work that you can also produce energy on that same land. So we just want to make sure that people's heritage and the work that they've done on their properties and the investment that they have made to make the food producing land as it is not lost when the energy providers are coming in and taking over.
And there's got to be an understanding that they're going to have a significant impact on people's livelihoods, and as such have to take that into consideration when providing power to the majority of urban dwellers in the East Coast power network. So,
that's right, and as local government it is our responsibility to work with our community to achieve the best outcomes, which probably takes us to the other motion that we're going to put up at Local Government New South Wales, and that is in relation to betterment. And for years and years, council, when there have been disasters, whether they be floods or bushfires, have only been entitled to do like for like. So when you receive disaster funding, you can only build the bridge the same way it was before the disaster. Whereas we're now going to argue that if you really want to improve a community, you need betterment. Do the same thing.
No point doing the same thing time and time again and expecting a different outcome.
Exactly.
So, as far as we're concerned, as a council in the local government area, there's no point, as you say, going down the same path time and time again.
Having said that?
Yeah, well, the other issues that were discussed today was the community and the sports capital grants that we allocated $60,000 to community strengthening and $40,000 towards the sports grants. That information's available on the council business paper. We won't go through the fine detail there, but it's a significant amount of contribution to the smaller groups and those that are endeavouring to enhance the experience of living in Snowy Valleys Council. So.
But I think it is fair to say that while we're not going to drill down and tell you who got what is really important to understand is that the process itself is a really significant process whereby the applications, they have guidelines that they need to meet, including the fact to either be incorporated or be auspiced by an incorporated body. I know that the independent panel actually looked across the entire Snowy Valleys Council area. So it was about trying to distribute the funds reasonably and equitably across our entire Snowy Valleys area.
And I think we've achieved that. If you look at the way the grants have been allocated, I think there's a good apportionment across the whole of Snowy Valleys Council.
And at the end of the day, we had $60,000, $40,000, and we needed to make that work.
And look, at the end of the day, as you said, we have made it work. I think it's been a very rewarding outcome.
Tumut Plains RFS, they should be very happy this evening.
Yeah, well, we've allocated funds to purchase the land to build a new fire shed on to house their vehicles and
That's right.
and to take that process forward. I don't think there's too many areas in Snowy Valleys Council that don't have the appropriate facilities for the RFS. In fact, I'm not aware of any, to be quite honest.
No.
There could be, but yeah, look, it's been a good outcome. It's an issue that will put another outstanding situation to a just conclusion. So, yeah.
And then we move down to the Evacuation
Not the
Multi-Purpose
ongoing
Centre.
Evacuation Centre. It's something that's been an ongoing issue that we've considered, I think, just about every council meeting. I think we're getting closer to a resolution.
We are.
We've identified potentially the two sites, that one of which will end up being I'm pretty sure will end up being the selected site. We're in the process of doing some geotechs on the site to ascertain whether they're appropriate to build on. We've got engaged an architect who's got experience in building evacuation centres come basketball stadiums, and we believe we've identified a process which will achieve the outcome within the budget.
I think what's really important to notice is the support of the stakeholders group and a committee, and I think it's really appropriate at this stage, Mayor Chaffey, that we actually acknowledge John Osland, who was an employee working with Snowy Valleys Council, who did an absolute phenomenal amount of work
and dragging the whole of this issue together to what we feel will be a very successful resolution of the process. And John was instrumental in achieving that.
And our condolences is to his wife Jeannie and their family, children. And from our perspective, John was, in our opinion, quite an exceptional. It
was a breath of fresh air. He really
was.
Yeah,
so,
that's for sure.
So we do acknowledge that and thank him for the contribution that he made towards this. And I think that the Evacuation Centre and the Multi-Purpose Centre is really going to be something that the wider community...
A lasting legacy to the community and a testament to his efforts in that regard.
So we actually adopted a couple of draft action plans today, the first one being the Disability Inclusion Action Plan, which has been a long time in the making, and it's really important because what it does is that it identifies the level and the different levels of support that we can have for people with disability, whether it be in our workplace, whether it be through access, whether it be through encouraging business to be inclusive as well. So it's an incredibly important document, and we really encourage everyone to go in and read it. But reading it's not going to achieve the outcomes.
I'm just going to say it's not.
You need to put it
about
into
having
action.
the document. It's about the implementation of it and making sure that the issues that are being addressed in there are out there in the community and progress further.
Which is the same with the other, which is the Reflection Reconciliation Action Plan, which was helped with or developed with the help of what was the Aboriginal Liaison Committee, which will now be, we're using the words First Nations people.
Yep.
So it's about showing the respect, and it's about the reconciliation and inclusion for that part of our culture as well. And just as with the Disability Inclusion Action Plan, this is not a document that lives on a shelf and uses words. This is how we actually implement it. These are the things that we will live, and this is how we as an organisation will also incorporate.
Interact, most definitely.
So important.
And look, as you say, it's not something to leave laying on the shelf and think that that's the end of the exercise. We as an organisation have a lot of policies that unless they're actually understood and implemented by the council, bear no interest whatsoever. So, and look, and finally, I think the other issue that came up during the course of the discussions is the need for council to be a little bit more inclusive in the way it goes about interacting with our community by way of holding our council meetings at times in other locations other than in Tumut here, and if we can get out there and engage with people by way of workshops and also council meetings, I think that will enhance the interaction of council and the understanding of the community and what our role is and how we engage.
And I think that's important because not everybody can make it down to the Tumut Chamber. And in order for us to listen as well as for other people to hear what we have to say, we need to engage with people. We need to actually make the effort to be included and be a part of other communities. And with technology the way it is in this day and age, it is not a completely difficult thing to actually be able to record or live stream. It may not have all the bells and whistles, but it will achieve the outcome. But it also means that we as
engage
councillors,
with various parts of our local government area, with the communities, and get a real understanding and listen to how they feel about things firsthand in their own backyard, rather than have that disconnect of meeting in one place. So that's a way forward that we hope we'll implement. The other issue, of course, is where we're at with the demerger exercise, and at present we're waiting for some sort of feedback from our Minister, Wendy Tuckerman, as to what the way forward is, and hopefully we'll be better briefed on that in the not too distant future. So I think that about sums up what we've discussed today.
I think in light of that comment, we also need to make sure that our staff understand and realise how much we truly value and appreciate them, and the aim of what we're trying to do is to make our staff feel safe. They need to be included.
We want to put this to bed once and for all. It's been an ongoing issue for 5.5 years now, and look, it's just gone on for too long, and we need it resolved. And we're working towards that end ASAP.
And our staff need to have security, and they need to know how much we care and value.
And look, we've been very fortunate in the fact that while we're in this transition period of having very competent people giving us advice and assistance in the way forward by way of our interim general manager and our other employees that are fulfilling that role for us now, which is great to see. And look, we want a better outcome not only for the local community but our staff and all those we engage with.
Yeah.
So that's great.
So in light of this time last week, it was Are You OK Day. I think sometimes we need to ask people, are they okay? And just be nice to each other. Be kind sometimes.
Righto. Thanks for the opportunity to having a bit of a yarn to you, and we look forward to this period of time next council meeting. So
thank you.